A story that I heard out of the Navajo reservation in New Mexico. There was this young man who he went by the name of Navajo Joe, and the locals in the area they all knew him as Navajo Joe. Now, Navajo Joe said that one day he happened to go with a friend to this area where they would get firewood and they would chop down firewood from these trees and then load it up and take it back to where they lived. So Navajo Joe and his buddy, they go out in his buddy's truck and they drive out to this area that sits in between this canyon. So they get there and they start chopping wood. They get the truck loaded up with a whole, you know, load full of firewood, and it starts to get sundown. Well, as Navajo Joe and his buddy get in the truck and they start making their way back home, they have to drive down this very, rocky, like bad road that cuts through the canyon. And so they can only go about 15 miles an hour because if they go any faster, the truck, starts just shaking too bad. Well, as they're driving down this road, Navajo Joe said all of a sudden he hears like a tapping on his window. And he said it got a little bit louder. Well, he was just about to look over when all of a sudden his friend says, "Look, I need you to put your head down and close your eyes." And he's like, "What? What do you mean?" And he's like, "Look, just listen to me. You need to close your eyes and put your head down right now. Like, do it." So he said, "Okay." So he puts his head down and he closes his eyes. And he said, a little bit after he says that, all of a sudden he felt like the back of the truck sort of go down, like something had gotten into the bed of the truck. And once again, he hears like tapping at the back window. And his friend is just like, "Just look down. Don't look at it. Don't listen to the sound. Just ignore it. Just don't give into it. Don't give into it." And he said they were hearing like this tapping all around the truck and stuff. And, his friend's only going 15 miles an hour. Well, finally they make it. And he says, "You can lift your head up and open your eyes and stuff." So he said, what happened? Like, what was that? And his buddy's like, "I don't want to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. Let's just get home." So they make it back home and everything all right. Well, several weeks had passed, and Navajo Joe kept bothering his buddy about this. What happened that night? What happened in the truck? And so this particular night, like Navajo Joe was talking to his friend, and it was like, "Are you ready to tell me like what happened in the truck? Like, did you see something?" And he said, "You know what was tapping when you heard the tapping on your window? Well, I looked over and there were two red eyes staring in the truck." And he said, "Well, is that what got in the back of the truck then?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, why didn't you just speed up, so you could like throw them out of the back of the truck?" And he said, "Because those weren't the only set of red eyes that I seen. There were many of them."